Welcome to the All Financial Hour podcast with Steve All.
You know, a 65-year-old guy recently wrote in to an advice column at MarketWatch.com saying that he's been pulling about 10% of his IRA out to do Roth conversions. You know, the market keeps going up at least over 20%. So his value, his balance keeps going up. And you think that would be a good problem to have. But he's trying to get all of his money de-taxed. And he feels like he's on a treadmill and he's never going to get off of it. Steve, what's your advice?
Well, the one thing that I look at it is you do not have to convert all of your money. Yes, if you can do it, that's fine. But being in a zero tax bracket means I burnt up the 10%, the 12%. So getting all the way down to zero is really not in a lot of people's best interest. And what do I mean by that? Well, what if you give to charity? After you're age 70 and a half, you can do qualified charitable distributions. What's that mean? I can take money out of my 401k or IRA account, send it directly to a qualified charity, and I don't have to pay taxes on that money. So if I want to give $10,000 to the St. Louis Zoo, I can give it out of my IRA account. That can also be used against your required minimum distributions when you hit those ages. So I think that's very important. What about endowments? I didn't grow up here, so I didn't go to high school here. But a lot of people did. And if you're thinking about leaving money to where you went to high school, where you went to college, the church, the St. Louis Zoo, any of those charities that you might have on a list, if you're going to give them money when you pass away, you do not need to convert that to a Roth account. Why? I don't want to prepay the taxes, then give it to somebody when it's already tax-free. Now, I might do that for my children, so I think that's important to look at. Then we look at the other side of that same equation. How many children do you have? I think the idea around it of it is I want to pay the least amount of taxes, but a lot of times we look at it through a microscope and it's only this year. I want to say, let's look at that big picture and let's look at it and say, what's it going to cost over a lifetime? So if I've converted most of the assets and I have 4 or 5 kids, it might not throw them into a higher tax bracket. So I think what the gentleman's been doing is very good because we want to make sure that we do taxes over a full time. And I also believe that having too much money in your IRAs and 401ks is going to subject you to tax rate risk in the future. Why? Prior to the Secure Act, our kids could stretch it over their lifetime, non-spousal heirs. Now they only have 10 years. Well, think about it. If 1/10 of your IRA account, how would that affect the taxes? If you've got 7 kids, it's not as big of a problem. If you got 1 child, it's a bigger problem. So those are when we come in and sit down and look at it. And I think that having too much money in your IRAs and 401ks is going to subject you to tax rate risk. I think a tax analysis is the only way that we can look at it to say, would it make sense for you? And people ask, what do you mean when you say too much money? The average in a 401k and IRA for a couple is about $180,000 to $190,000. So if you've got an extra large from $250,000 up to about $750,000, depending on your pensions and your Social Security and your incomes and your lifestyle, you might spend those assets down. You might not have to look at conversions. If you've got a double X between 750 and about 1.5, chances are you're not going to spend all those down. So that would be the part to look at it and say, should we do any conversions? And if you've got a triple X, 1.5 or more, you're probably going to pass a tax time bomb onto your kids. And that's where we want to look at it and says, does it make sense for you? Because I think reducing your overall taxes in your lifetime between you and your heirs is very important to look at, not just what did it do for this year's tax return. Reducing or eliminating taxes is the best thing you can do for your retirement. Give us a call now if you have more than $500,000 in your IRAs and 401ks. Ask for the tax analysis. We do business with people with less than that, but the analysis and the conversions make a lot more sense if you got more than 500,000. Give us a call now. Ask for that tax analysis.
It is so easy to do, folks. Again, if you have at least $500,000 saved in either an IRA or 401k, you are a great candidate for this tax analysis. Complimentary, by the way, 636-230-8824, 636-230-8824. That website, yourmoneymattersstl.com. Guaranteed income in retirement, of course, can come in several different forms. We talk about it all the time. Social Security, pensions, annuities, and even treasuries. Morningstar's Christine Benz says people often put a higher priority on this type of income.
To the extent that they have non-portfolio income coming in, they tend to be more comfortable spending it. They give themselves more license to spend, which to me translates into a little bit of a happiness dividend. If you're not worried about the spending that you're doing, you're just going to be more comfortable and happy in retirement. So I think that's an important finding, that people who have more guaranteed income do tend to be a bit comfier and happier in retirement.
You know, we used to talk about this all the time, call it mailbox money, right? You were, of course, happy. You had money coming in, essentially replacing that paycheck, Steve. But how much retirement income should ideally come from guaranteed sources?
Well, I like to look at it if you're going for that ideal number. I want to know what my lifestyle is going to cost. See, I'm going to have my basic lifestyle, and then I'm going to have the extras. And if I can make sure that I've got that lifestyle covered with Social Security, pensions, annuity incomes, treasury, if I've got that covered, the balance of my funds go to the extras. Keep up with inflation, because a lot of those things are not inflation adjusted. So that's where I start to look at when it comes here. I think to be comfortable in retirement, the more guaranteed income you have, the better. You know, so if you haven't thought about how you're going to replace your paycheck when you retire, give us a call. Let us go through that income planning analysis so that we can go through the different ways that we can get that income for you to help replace your paycheck when you make that decision. You're not going to work anymore.
And, of course, you'll be happier, right, having that income coming in. Again, if you'd like to come in for this income planning analysis, 636-230-8824, 636-230-8824. That website, yourmoneymattersstl.com. I ran across something actually on Instagram, Steve, that talked about some familiar products that took off because customers used them the wrong way. Listerine was actually a disinfectant before someone started using it as a mouthwash in the 1920s. Okay. I mean, but if you've ever used Listerine, I mean, woo! That thing is, it's disinfecting things, that's for sure. Play-Doh was originally used to clean wallpaper. That's random. Back in 1930s, it became a toy in schools after teachers started using it for classroom projects. So think about that next time you're playing Play-Doh with Mary, your granddaughter. Yeah. And WD-40 was developed to prevent rust on nuclear missiles until employees, they decided to sneak some home and try it on their rusty doors and their joints. Interesting, right?
Smart employees.
Yeah, smart. Well, you know, sometimes the best retirement plans come from thinking outside the box, much like these examples here. So, Steve, what are some of the mistakes people make when they assume there's only one way to retire?
I'm going to say I think it's a term that I'll call conventional financial wisdom. It's those things that we've heard so many times that we automatically assume them to be true. I'll use one of the examples. M&Ms, they melt in your mouth, not your
hand.
Is that true? No.
No.
If you hold M&Ms in your hand for very long, you're going to have messy hands. Mm-hmm. But we've heard it so often, we just believe it to be true. I'll look at some of those. You're going to spend less in retirement. My guess is you've got a lifestyle. Yes, you might not have to drive back and forth to work. You might have different clothing that you have, but it's not going to be. I usually look at it when some people retire, those first 2 to 3 years, they're going to spend more than they did during their working years. Why? Every day, Saturday, travel. Well, I'm young enough to do it. So a lot of people spend more in those first couple of years. Social Security will be enough. Social Security was not designed to be a retirement plan. we look at it as a lot of the income from today. It was old age survivors' disability income. It was designed for people that had outlived life expectancy. I think we would have a major uproar in this company if they didn't give men their Social Security check till after age 85. Because when they started at 62 to 63, and life expectancy was 61 to 62. So it was, you live too long. I can work as long as I want to work. That's usually a misnomer, because a lot of times we miss the fact that our health or the health of a loved one changes and we retire much earlier. A lot of people think, I'll just wait till I'm 65. But a lot of those people are retiring early to take care of a spouse, their parents, a loved one. So those things come from there. Conservative portfolios is the best. I can't afford to take risk now that I'm retired. In that case, I look at it for some people, yes, you have the opportunity to go broke safely because inflation is still going to kick in there. The one that is probably the biggest one for conventional financial wisdom, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket in retirement. Now, that was brought in when they brought the 401k around in the late 70s, and the highest tax rate was 70-some%. Pretty good chance you'd be in a lower tax bracket. Mm-hmm. Most people adopt a lifestyle. The same lifestyle you had when you're working is going to be the same lifestyle that you're going to do. What's that money that comes out of your IRAs and 401ks taxed as? Ordinary income. So it takes almost as much of it just to do the things that you enjoy to do. And as I like to say, when I sit down with a lot of people and we talk about some of these things, I usually hear the statement, Steve, I've never heard that, or I've never seen it done that way. So I'm going to say what you don't know could possibly hurt you. So let's call now. Ask for that comprehensive retirement plan so we can do an analysis of where you're at, what your chances of a successful retirement could be, and things that we might want to change. I usually look at it to somebody that's 5 to 10 years out from that retirement date. Come in, sit down. That way, if you are saving one way and it could be more beneficial for you to save a different way, that way we've got some time to adapt. Give us a call now. Ask for that comprehensive retirement plan. Allow myself and my team to help walk you through retirement.
Yeah, it's very much also about figuring out the probability of a successful retirement as well. This complimentary retirement plan could be yours. Call today, 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. You can always get more details about Steve and the team on the website, by the way, yourmoneymattersstl.com. You know, at age 79, Judge Judy, she is still going strong. She actually just wrapped up her 4th season of Judy Justice. I don't even know why she's working. I mean, her net worth is estimated at $580 million. I mean, that's ridiculous. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. And if anybody knows her, please have them give me a call.
I know, right?
Down and chat with her.
Yeah, you need some financial help. We'll help you out. She strongly believes that more women need to achieve financial independence. Here's what she says.
Once a woman gives up financial independence to a mate, it's over. But you have to be prepared, because if you're not prepared, then you're stuck. And more women have to accept lifestyles that are unpleasant because they are financially stuck.
Well, I think that's important to note. I think a lot of women, many women feel kind of they take a backseat to a lot of this financial conversation, right? It ends up being, it's just about the husband. He's making the decisions sometimes. How do you promote financial independence for women clients?
I think you've got it both ways. I think it is more common for the male to be the person that does all the things for the investing. But there are a lot of clients within my client base that it is the female that does the investments, pays the bills, and handles all the financial side of it. So it's not that black and white. They're both sides to that fence. And I look at it, we have many female clients that are divorced, widowed, or single. You know, and they are financially independent. And that's why we look at it. And that was one of the things that we had was I just hired Tracy Richardson. Tracy's been in the industry for over 22 years, predominantly dealing with more high net worth clients, but she deals with everybody. She's got just a great personality and she's easy to get along with. And that's where I look at it to the point, I think having her to help balance our team is very, very important. Because I can sit there and my wife, I can say things like, I understand what you're talking about. And my wife will look at me with that deer in the headlight look like, what do you mean? You know, we don't think the same way.
Yes.
But when we bring that in there, some women prefer a male to be their financial advisor. Mm-hmm. Some women would prefer a female. So that's why I put her into the system, because I think it's more important to say, are you getting what you need out of the financial relationship that you had? Are your questions being answered? Do we understand the question? I have found out with dealing with Tracy, men are pretty good about thinking about one thing. Women can think about 2 to 3 things at the exact same time. So when we're meeting with somebody, she's going to pick up things that I might not pick up. And I think that's the importance of having a well-balanced team within the All Financial Group. So if you would prefer to meet with a female, please give us a call. Ask for the comprehensive retirement plan. Tell them that you want Tracy in the room with you when you start. I don't have a problem with that. I want to give you what you're looking for, because I think that's the most important thing around financial planning, is that you're comfortable doing it, because that's why most people avoid it. They're not comfortable. Give us a call. Ask for the comprehensive retirement plan and ask to speak with Tracy.
Thanks for listening to the All Financial Hour podcast.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business All Insurance Group, LLC, AIG. All Financial Group, LLC is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by All Insurance Group, LLC, AIG are not subject to investment advisor requirements. IPW and All Insurance Group, LLC, AIG are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. All Financial Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by All Financial Group, LLC.
This radio show is intended for information purposes only.